So let's talk about my sewing tool kit. And basically these are the items that you will need in your sewing kit in order to construct anything. All right. So the only thing that will change will be your notions. So a few things that I will tell you to put in your sewing kit outside of the pattern and the pattern instructions. You're going to need that for anything that you sew, the pattern and the pattern instructions. All right. So the next one that you will need is, of course, your pins or wonder clips. It's up to you which ones you want. The next one is 2 pairs of scissors. Now, the 2 pairs of scissors is one for paper, one for fabric, and never mix the two there. You're also going to need 2 rotary cutters, one for paper, one for fabric, never mix the two there as well. Next thing that you will need will be your pencil and your pen. Now the pencil and the pen is strictly for you to sides up, sides down, whatever you need to do, make adjustments, make any hacks. That's what the pencil and the pen is for. Now me personally, for sew-alongs, I use a pen. But if I'm not doing a sew-along, I use a pencil to make any adjustments. I use a pen so you are able to see it on camera of, you know, any type of sizing up or the sizes and how I take those measurements on my pattern. All right, so that's what the pen and the pencil is for. It's strictly for adjustments. The other thing that you're going to need is a ruler. And the ruler is strictly for if you need to make any adjustment, mark your bust, your waist, and your hips as well. That's what the ruler is for. Now for me, I use a clear ruler, but you can use whatever type of ruler that you want in order to mark your lines and dots and all that good stuff, but make sure you have a ruler. Next thing that you're going to need is a marking tool. Now for the marking tool, I use a disappearing ink marker as well as a white soluble pencil. Those are the main things that I use. You can use a chalk roller as well. I do that if I'm doing anything that has darts. I will use my chalk roller in order to mark out my dots. All right, dots and darts. Okay. Next thing you're going to need is a tape measure. And the tape measure is for you to take your measurements, your bust, your waist, your hips, your upper bust. Those are the 4 things that I always take before doing any project. Now, I use my tape measure and take my measurement prior to doing every single project simply because your weight, your everything fluctuates. So no matter if you sewn something 2 days ago, it may go up, may go down. So just be mindful of taking your measurement after each project, all right? Or before you construct each project. After the tape measure, I would say you will need some drafting paper and tape. Now the drafting paper and the tape is if you make any adjustments whatsoever, you want to have drafting paper and some tape so you're able to go ahead and make those adjustments. So, and I always have drafting paper and tape nearby in a drawer that I keep all of my sewing toolkit right in. So that's what I always have, drafting paper and tape. Now, you also going to need a calculator. And I have said this in many of my sew-alongs. The calculator is strictly for you to take your measurements from the pattern, multiply, subtract, and get those measurements right. All right. So a calculator is like your brain to where you do not have to think much if you have your calculator on hand. All right. Now, outside of that, the only other thing that I would suggest that you always have is your pattern weights. I use coins from my husband's fraternity, but I know you could buy pattern weights from Raven Marine. She has some cool pattern weights. You could buy pattern weights from your local home improvement store as well. But this is what I have, so that is what I'm using, okay? Outside of that, make sure you have any notions that you have for the pattern. It's always on the back of the pattern envelope where what you will need in order to construct any garment you are doing. Now, that's everything that you need for your sewing toolkit. So I hope you enjoyed this sewing toolkit. So let's go ahead and get into whatever you are sewing. So go ahead and get back to the sew along for whatever sew along you are doing with me.